It's mailbag time. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Football Today, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. It's Adam and Dan right now. Jamie should be joining us shortly. What's going on, Arnold Palmer?
What's the Arnold Palmer reference?
You're golfing.
Oh, the morning golf today was, disappointing, obviously. For those who have listened to the show, they know Fridays are off for me, but I do the mailbag. But today there was a frost delay, Adam, so we were delayed an hour and a half and I had to leave on hole 13. The good news is, and nobody cares, but I ended the day with a nice par. So
that's great. Isn't it not fun to golf in such cold weather?
When you're as addicted as I am, Adam, there is no weather that holds you back from golfing. And let me say this. I want to throw this out for those early watching on YouTube. If anyone understands this reference from my mug today, hungry for apples, drop it in the comments, because I think it's a funny one if you get the reference.
I don't know that at all. Hungry for apples. All right, I don't know that. Do you know the movie where they say, "I got her number. How do you like them apples?"
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a play on Got Milk.
Okay. All right. Anyway, let's go over some of the news and notes here. And looks like Ramondre Stevenson's going to be a game time decision in London against Jacksonville. We've laid this out. If he plays, he's a pretty good number 2 running back. If he doesn't play, Antonio Gibson is a number 2 running back and a much better matchup. Look, I don't think that's the thing. I wasn't getting too excited about Antonio Gibson last week because he's just like, we've seen him before. He's not that good of a player, but this is a much better situation for him rather than last week where they were behind immediately before they got the ball. It was 7-0 against the Texans. Jonathan Taylor's out. Michael Pittman, he was on the injury report, but he's going to play. Aaron Jones is questionable for this week's game. I don't have much else to say about that. I have Aaron Jones in a few leagues, and I will be starting him. I know it's not ideal. I don't value him the same way I would ordinarily, but I'll start him if he plays. Juju Smith-Schuster practice, it seems like he's fine. Devon Achan's going to play. Nick Chubb is going to play. Would you start Nick Chubb or Antonio Gibson if Ramondre's out?
I'm going to start Gibson. I'm still a little wary of Nick Chubb's workload to start. I want to watch it play. Also, the Bengals have been a really bad defense by EPA, but they did get 2 big players back on their D-line last week against the Giants and did a much better job on the line of scrimmage. So I think we're going to see a step forward there.
Absolutely. Tajay Spears is out. No surprise. And let's talk about the Giants, actually, because they have a lot of really important someone's asking me, how is Pittman playing? He is playing. I got so I know he didn't practice today, but he is playing. I don't want to start him because he's got
management thing. Yeah.
Anthony Richardson. I'm not starting him, but he is going to play. Anyway, the Giants. So what do you make of this Devin Singletary stuff? He's going to play, but Tyrone Tracy Jr. is apparently going to have a significant role. He's earned it, according to Brian Dable. They're playing the Eagles. And also, are you thinking Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence play on the defensive line?
Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence have already basically said they're definitely playing. Burns has been playing through a groin injury all year, and Dexter has a little bit of a hip, but he's fine. Now, as far as the running back situation, how it shakes out with Singletary's return, Tracy's obviously put on tape that he has to play. Last week, the Giants had created just 10 yards before contact for him on 17 carries, and he still managed like 56 and added stuff in the passing game. His role in the pass game, I think, will take a slight drop, but just because he won't be on the field as much, but he'll still get yards there. I view him more as like a flex, though, a desperation flex play. And I don't really think you should be starting either of those 2 players.
Okay. But you would start him over Singletary if you had to choose?
I would, just based on his role in his passing game, but I am so uncertain of who's going to get the red zone touches there. Not that I think there's going to be many opportunities either. Remember, Andrew Thomas, the Giants' left tackle, is out. Last year when he was out, the Giants' offense averaged 11 points per game with Thomas out, and they averaged 19 with him in.
Wow.
Yep, 11.4 with Thomas out last year.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, and the Eagles actually give up 5 yards per carry to running backs. So, Jamie, let me ask you this. If Aaron Jones is out, would you start Ty Chandler or Tyrone Tracy Jr.?
With Singletary playing?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd start Chandler.
Yeah, me too.
But Jones is going to play.
Jones is going to play?
It's according to Rap Sheet. Yeah.
Oh,
we heard from O'Connell anyway that the Akers move was just depth. So.
Okay. Well, that's good. All right. Jones is going to play. And as we often say here, that Dan won't get, Daniel LaRusso is going to fight.
Don't get that, yeah.
I just showed Dan a clip of Coming to America, and he was completely unmoved by it.
It was like,
So I told him what happened in the Yankees game on Thursday with the 2-run homer to tie it was like identical to Pedro Serrano's 2-run homer off the Yankees in the movie Major League. And so I saw a clip on Twitter of them like side by side, and it was pretty funny. And then I said it was like when the Giants beat the Packers on the walk-off overtime field goal. It was Lawrence Tynes, right, Dan?
Yes.
It was like people started circulating the clip of Akeem walking into Mr. McDowell's office and saying, "Did you see the football game last night? The Giants triumphed by kicking an oblong ball through a giant H." It was like exactly what happened in the game. And I showed him that, and he see the face he has on now. That's like, I'm too good for you. I shouldn't even.
At no point in my life have I been too good for anyone. I know it comes off that way at times.
You've never seen Coming to America, the first one?
Of course, come on. No, of course he hasn't.
I have not seen that movie. No,
that's one you need to watch.
Yeah, I have a lot of movies I need to watch. One day I'm going to need you two to put together like a list of the best, a tiered list. Like, remember let's bring it back to August. Tiered list of
Braveheart. Start with Braveheart.
No, start with Coming to America first.
No,
Matchstick Men is on the list.
I'm not gonna like Coming to America. If you want to watch a movie, because it's not like I grew up watching it. I love it. It is funny. It is a little dated. You know?
No, it's not.
Yeah, you gotta like watch it with someone who's never seen it before. It's little
Eddie Murphy, right?
Yeah, it's great.
I love Eddie Murphy, so from a stand-up, so I'm sure I would like it.
So I would watch My Cousin Vinny if you're gonna watch a comedy.
Oh, I've seen My Cousin Vinny, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Jamie, quick question for you. I seen in the comments, and it was something we discussed last week or on Monday. I mean, yeah, Jamie, how do you say the team coach Jim Boeheim coaches?
Syracuse.
One more time.
Syracuse.
That's kind of between both of us there, Adam. I don't know.
Syracuse. That's exactly what I say. Also, you just made
Syracuse.
On my phone. No, Syracuse is not right. It's Syracuse. Also, who's the name of the coach, Dan?
Boeheim.
Okay, because I think you kind of butchered that the first time, but all right.
Jim Boeheim.
All right, you got it. He's not. He doesn't coach anymore, right?
I know.
Okay.
All right. He stopped last year, right?
Yeah.
He was coaching up until that point. They're still running that 2-3 zone, though, I think.
Oh, maybe. Okay, so let's get to our emails. Fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. Oh, wait, Brian Robinson Jr., he's questionable.
Yep.
He's playing.
All right. We like him if he plays. Fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. That is the email address. The letter I, fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. Oh, I like this idea. The audience will give Dan a movie list.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Juju is playing. People are asking. Don't get mad at me for my Coming to America take. I love Coming to America. It is a little dated. All right. Emails from Nick.
Terrible.
Hey, Dan, Jay, Chad, and Cleo. Oh, I know this.
Dan, Jay.
Come on, Jamie. Dan, Jay, Chad, and Cleo. I'm pretty sure those are Dolphins quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Who was it? Cleo Lemon? Is that
Cleo Lemon? Yeah, they had
Wow.
Pennington for a bit, right?
Yeah, I remember the game. Pennington, the Miami Dolphins hosted the Baltimore Ravens, and Pennington threw 4 interceptions. And my friend predicted before the game, he bet us that he would throw 4 interceptions. We took the bet, like the dumbest bet ever, and he somehow hit it. That's all I remember.
The playoff game?
Yeah, the playoff game.
Wow.
He was the quarterback of the Wildcat.
Oh, yeah, sure. Trade question. First place team is offering me Tony Pollard and Brian Thomas Jr. for James Cook in a half PPR league.
No way you would turn that down.
You take it, right? You take Pollard.
Pollard's better than
I
Cook
think
right
so.
now.
The Brian Thomas like advanced stats and the stuff behind the scenes is really promising for potential breakout second half. So I'm in on that.
Okay. And from Rob, grade the trade.
Better for Thomas if the Jags lose this week and Peterson's fired, or Peterson stays the coach?
I wouldn't be so sure he's getting fired. But
There's obviously no guarantee, but
it's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer for that.
You lose back-to-back games in London after the way the season has gone.
I'm fine with the way the season has gone for Brian Thomas. Last week was a horrible matchup.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is it better if he stays, or is it better if he's gone?
Better if he stays.
Better question for you guys: if the Eagles somehow lose to the Giants minus Andrew Thomas, does Sirianni get fired?
Dave and I were just talking about this, and with Katie Mox also on CBS Sports Network off the air, that it would be surprising if they did it, unless it's an embarrassing loss.
Okay.
I think they have to really look awful, and the team quits on them.
Yeah. Well, I would say if they lose to the Giants, it's an embarrassing loss. But
are we at the point yet where we can officially call Kellen Moore a fake sharp? No.
I mean,
I thought he regressed Justin Herbert entirely. I thought Herbert took a step back with him, and I hate what I've seen from the Eagles offense this year on tape.
I like to see a little bit more of a sample size with the Eagles offense being the Eagles offense, because losing AJ Brown for that stretch, losing Lane Johnson for a game, now their left tackle's up. Granted, every team's got issues, so it's hard to say it's just completely injury related, but I would like to see a stretch of games just mostly with AJ Brown, because Lane Johnson should be there.
It's just crazy watching them. I'm just going to do a quick point on this, watching them on tape because I watched them this week. Their entire offense is the run game, and that could involve some zone read, and then just isolated one-on-one shots on the outside down the field. They don't use the middle of the field at all. There's no crossing routes. There's no routes designed to create separation in the middle of the field through two guys running deep slant, something like that. There's nothing. It's all just isolated shots, and it's very stale, I would say.
Interesting. Okay.
Good for AJ Brown, though.
Jacoby Myers is doubtful. So let's go to this one from Rob. Can you grade the trade? Give Chris Godwin, Chuba Hubbard, and Jonathan Brooks. All right. We got Godwin, Hubbard, and Brooks getting Ken Walker, Darnell Mooney, and Tank Bigsby. He does have A.J. Brown, Malik Neighbors, and Garrett Wilson at wide receiver. So he gives up Godwin and both Carolina running backs. He gets Ken Walker, Mooney, and Bigsby.
It's a B+ for me.
I don't love it, simply because there's the wild card of the Panthers running backs. Like, if Hubbard stays the guy, and as we talked about it on the show on Friday morning, and we just get Brooks being a better version of Miles Sanders, just to get ease him in for the season, that combo is better than what you're getting back.
The reason I like it is Godwin, I think, is due for some touchdown regression over the rest of the season. I think he has 5 through 6 weeks, or 6 through 6 weeks, one of the two. And the other side is Kenneth Walker, somebody we talked about on Beyond the Box Score yesterday, really could be set up for a big second half now that they're using him more in the passing game. Always been a situation didn't get used a lot. Metrics said he wouldn't because of his Michigan State days, but just because a guy didn't get used that way in college doesn't mean he can't, and he's proving he can be used in the passing game. I think it changes.
I don't disagree with that at all. I just think that the wild card in all this is the Panthers running backs. Because Godwin's the best player right now. Walker's a close second.
Sure.
If you got to really buy into Mooney, which is hard not to at this point. He's been solid. For me, I just think you also have the Evans hamstring injury now. Like, is that
ETN hamstring? I thought you were going to mention the ETN hamstring injury. That's a big one to me. Because if that lingers, Tank Bigsby becomes, I think, a really good player.
Oh, the ETN injury,
yeah.
All right, let's go. From Christopher, Garrett Wilson or Darnell Mooney this week?
Mooney for me. It's close.
I'm going to stick with Wilson. I think we'll wait a game before Devontae takes that over from Wilson, the target share.
Yeah, Jamie and I did a very fun, I enjoyed very much, segment on HQ this afternoon.
Okay.
And we were asked about panic meter on Garrett Wilson. So I did some research, did not realize the Jets are 3rd in pass rate and 3rd in pass attempts per game. And I thought to myself, this is the perfect scenario when you have a basically immobile quarterback. He's not going to do anything with his legs. He's not going to steal touchdowns. Who's throwing the ball that much. That's how you get 2 good wide receivers. You need Lazard to basically disappear.
He's not going to. That's the problem.
I don't know. He might. But you need him to be 3 to 4 targets per game. And you probably need Breece Hall to get fewer targets. But that's a good setup for both Adams and Wilson if they can concentrate the targets a little bit.
And to the credit, Downing, the offense under Downing definitely looked a lot better than under Hackett.
All right. This is Kurt. Should I offer Jordan Mason to the McCaffrey manager for Chuba Hubbard? I have Jonathan Brooks.
It does make sense, especially this week. If you get that done this week, that's a slam dunk for me.
Yeah.
All right, from Luke. Pick my starters this week. I need 2 wide receivers, half PPR. Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, JSN, and Brian Thomas Jr. Wow. Adams, Higgins, Devontae Smith, JSN, Brian Thomas Jr. Pick 2.
Higgins and Smith for me if Goddard is out. Higgins and Adams for me if Goddard isn't.
I'm going Higgins and Smith either way. Smith is going to have a big week against the Giants.
Now I need 2 running backs. J.K. Dobbins, Bijan Robinson, and James Conner.
The first 2.
It's Bijan.
I don't like Conner at all against the Chargers.
I don't really like Conner against the Chargers, but okay. I'm going Dobbins and Bijan. Just match up. Dobbins will win that.
All right, now I need a flex between Devontae Adams,
Does this guy pay you
JSN.
for this?
What's that?
You get paid for this?
Sort of.
It's a three-part. I actually have a question. It's a three-part question.
No,
You know
he's
what that's?
definitely-
It's actually a two-part question. Do you know what
Can you
that's?
send my
from,
whole
Adam?
lineup for me? Here's
Wait,
here's
quick movie. I have a question. Raise your hand. It's actually a two-part question. Do you know
Yeah.
this movie?
No.
Harold and Kumar.
Oh, yeah, I saw
Remember?
it once or
It's actually
twice.
a two-part question.
Anyway, who's your flex? Is it Devontae Adams? Is it Brian Thomas Jr.? Is it James Conner?
Thomas for me.
Yeah, it's BTJ for sure for me.
All right, this is from Anthony. He says, "Hey, Hank, Bill, Dale, and Boomhauer."
Oh, I know this one. Hold on. King of the Hill.
Yeah, good job. Did you really have to say "hold on" that many times?
I didn't want Jamie or you to get it in before me, and then it's like, oh, he didn't have it. He just heard it from one of you guys. I knew I had that one locked in. I needed to slow it down.
20,000 Lee gets under the sea. That's pretty good. Who would you flex this week? Chase Brown, Jordan Mason, Josh Downs, or Bucky Irving?
Chase Brown.
Oh, sorry. This just made me laugh so much. I had to stop for a second. Salty Dog says, Dan, do you drive a BMW? Look like the type. No, I don't look like the
It's
type.
because he has his. Can you move your head a little bit to the side, like away from the mic? Move your body just a little bit. No, the other way, so I can see your zipper. Yeah, it's because he has his zipper zipped up all the way. What a strange look.
No, that's how. So then
Dave does that too. I don't
I like it's comfortable. It shows off the Wisconsin. Here's the other option. Is this better? Right?
No,
That's not great.
halfway. Like anyone, like I'm
That
a fan of yeah, that's better. I'm a fan of the TV show Monk. He buttons his buttons up all the way to the top. Like it's a weird, creepy way to dress.
I've never seen Monk, but I love that actor in what's the Jewish the Maisel show.
Yeah,
he's so funny to me. So I feel like I have to watch Monk. He's probably just the same guy, right? Same character.
He's
erotic.
It's the best
version of that
acting jobs you'll ever see. But
one of the best acting jobs you'll ever see.
Oh, 100%. He's
that's your take.
Monk.
This dude, what's his name again? The actor, whatever his name is,
Tony
in
Shalhoub.
Monk.
Tony Shalhoub in Monk. He's incredible.
Is one of the best acting jobs you'll ever see.
Yeah,
Adam Azer.
It's not really a comedy. It's like he's got it's a dark, sad, funny, lovable.
He's great in almost everything he does.
Character. He's amazing.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. Tony Shalhoub.
Marvelous Miss Maisel is one of the worst shows I ever saw. I absolutely hate it.
It's a very entertaining show.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more emails. I have a segment today called questions or emails about shopping carts, and we have the fantasy tops and more.
Do we have questions about pocket dialing your coworkers?
Oh no, don't bring that up, Jamie. I got a lot of takes on the shopping cart thing though, so we got to get into
All right, we'll be right back on Fantasy Football Today. All right, we are back here, and let's go quick here because we filibustered quite a bit. 2 questions. Now we'll just read one. Okay. Downs, Mason, Waddle, Pickens. We need 2 of them. Or Demario Douglas. Downs, Mason, Waddle, Pickens, Demario Douglas. 2 of them.
So we're assuming Mason's playing?
I don't know. Give me the
Mason plays, it's Downs and Mason for me for sure.
So I kind of like the setup for Pickens now if DJ Reed is out because Michael Carter's out. So Jet secondary could be a mess. And Pickens sort of let the cat out of the bag by saying he's been practicing with Russ because he's going to be the starter after Mike Tomlin says we're going to keep it in-house. I'm nervous about Mason. Shoulder injury, taking on a really good Chiefs run defense. Like that could be one of these, fool us games of, yeah, he's good to go. Takes one hit on the shoulder, doesn't do much before then, and then he's out. So I would go with Pickens and Downs.
I don't like Russell Wilson and that Steelers offense to move the ball at all against the Jets. I'm glad to be proven wrong, but I need to see it first with Russ.
It's definitely a volatile situation, but banged up secondary, he's going to get more opportunities.
True.
Than he was getting with Fields.
And honestly, I take it back because the Mason situation is really difficult to be in. I have Mason in multiple leagues, and it's one bad hit or one bad fall. And now you just get like a 0 in your lineup. So it's really actually the most volatile.
All right. By the way, Ian Rappaport said Jordan Mason's status is up in the air.
Yeah. Even if he plays, though, that again, it's like a pain toss.
I would honestly hope he sits. I don't want to be dealt. I'm with you, Dan. I have him in a lot of leagues. I don't want to be dealt, have to make this decision. And even if he was 100% healthy, like you're starting him, but it wouldn't be great matchup for him because the Chiefs are just so good.
Can I get a quick grade the trade from you two? Quick trade I did with Adi, who's a regular listener of our show, and quote unquote said, "You're just too scared. You don't want to lose a trade to me," which I think I won this trade. Let me see your guys' thoughts. Full point PPR. One team gets Brandon Ayuk and Emmanuel Wilson. The other team gets Chase Brown and Jalen Tolbert. Grade. Who would you write?
Brown and Tolbert.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a pretty even trade. But I go Brown and Tolbert.
I got Ayuk and Emmanuel Wilson.
I mean, it's a fine trade.
I feel like I'm selling a little high on Brown, though I like Brown. And I feel like I'm buying super low on Ayuk.
You're definitely buying low on Ayuk, but Wilson's not going to help you unless Jacobs gets injured. So you're taking a huge risk there.
Yeah.
Which could pay off tremendously unless Marshawn Lloyd comes back and then it's a mess. But yeah.
All right, we got to get going here. Sorry. If you haven't signed up for the BetMGM app yet, please let's do that. Use the bonus code FANTASY when you sign up on BetMGM. You'll get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. So download the BetMGM app, sign up using the bonus code FANTASY, deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure that you use the bonus code FANTASY when you sign up. All right, James is in a non-PPR league, and he needs to start 2. Breece Hall, Tony Pollard, Kareem Hunt, Jahmyr Gibbs in non-PPR. Breece Hall, Tony Pollard, Kareem Hunt, Jahmyr Gibbs. I said Hunt and Pollard. I replied and said, I know it's tough to sit Gibbs, but I think
I'm Hall and Hunt.
Sorry. I didn't say Hunt. Hall and Pollard.
Hall and Pollard. I think I'm Hall and Hunt. I like Hunt a lot in non-PPR.
I would go with Gibbs and Pollard.
I think Hunt until Pacheco's back is like a borderline top 12 start every week.
His longest run is 9 yards.
Don't care. His usage is
maybe I'm wrong about, but not.
Is he losing passing down work with CH back?
He doesn't get it anyway.
I just think he's in the red zone, and they're just a weird team that runs the ball so well in the red zone because everybody's guessing pass. I think he's going to score almost every week, almost.
I hope so because I traded for him. Dear, this is from Mark in a city south of Tallahassee.
Let's see. You guys, this is on you guys first.
Yeah, let's say Boca Raton. Dear Rocky, Colt, Tum Tum, and Grandpa.
Great movie.
Great movie, yeah. 3 Ninjas. That does not need to be on Dan's movie list.
No.
12-team league. Small benches, 5 benches, 6 point per passing touchdown, 0.1 point per completion. I drafted Anthony Richardson. I've been rolling with Geno, but Cousins is on waivers. And Geno's schedule and Cousins' schedule work perfectly rest of season. That's what he says. Do I drop Anthony Richardson and pick up Cousins? And how many more bad weeks until we should give up on Anthony Richardson?
I think he's going to be great this week. It's obviously a risk. I like Cousins better. Geno's ranked around the same. I think you just want to look long-term. Like, why would you not want to have Richardson and one of these guys as opposed to these 2 guys, which could be very good. But as we've seen, Smith does not have a game with multiple passing touchdowns. Cousins has 1 huge game, 1 good game, and the rest mediocre or bad. So if Richardson ever gets on track as the complete quarterback that he can be, and by that I mean a runner, somewhat improved passer, but just a playmaker, like he's the best of that trio by a lot if he hits. So I'd rather go play the bye week game or whatever matchups you like that you feel better about the other 2 guys moving forward. Keep one and Richardson.
Okay. Yeah, 0.1 per completion is not quite enough. I mean, that's probably like a point, maybe a 1.5 per game to favor the other guys. So I don't think it's quite enough. All right, it's from Caleb. Tank Dell or Brian Thomas Jr. this week?
BTJ.
Thomas, but it's close.
From Wesley, 12-team half PPR, give away Kyler and Tucker Kraft. Get Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kyler and Tucker Kraft. If you don't need tight end, yeah.
I'm way in on that. I think Hurts is going to have a huge second half in fantasy.
Give up Achane and Josh Downs. Get Ken Walker.
Yes. Love that.
I like it. Downs is obviously a wild card now with Richardson. If it was, Joe Flacco rest of season, I would say keep Achane and Downs. But look,
I still remain uncertain on the Achane situation in the sense of, are you guys feeling great that we're going to get a lot of Tua for the rest of the year? I do not feel great about that at all.
I mean, it's hard to say feel great, but I'm
Yeah.
hopeful that he's back in week 8, and when he's back in week 8, that's the offense pops off from that point forward. I do like Achane a lot this week. Taking on the Colts, they've been bad. No DeForest Buckner again, so this should be a run heavy approach for the Dolphins. Try and get your win, get Tua back. Offense, takes off from here. But yeah, Ken Walker's the best player in the trade. So if you buy into Walker, then sure, make the deal.
Shazad said, speaking of my cousin Vinny, why not bring back I'm finished with this game? And yeah, we should do that more. But also,
it's a good bit.
I had such an opportunity this morning and I totally blew it when we were talking about the Saints game. I could have been like Mason Tipton, right? Because that's exactly the guy's name, right? Mr. Tipton. When the stuttering lawyer is fumbling around, he's like, Mr. Tipton.
See, I don't remember the movie as well as you guys.
Oh, watch it tonight, bro.
Wow.
I'm sure it's on TV. It's on TV every night.
Every day it's on TV. Yeah.
The best.
This is from Thomas. I just made a trade.
Tomei is the best.
She's incredible. I give Tyreek Hill and Tyrone Tracy for Jahmyr Gibbs and Jalen Waddle.
Tracy and Tyreek for Gibbs and Waddle.
I think if your receiving core is good, then I make the trade. If your receiving core is not great, like you're giving up the best player.
But Waddle, I mean, if Tua's coming back, that's huge for Waddle.
Yeah.
I would rather have Gibbs and Waddle.
I'm on Gibbs and Waddle for sure.
But Tyreek can still outscore the two of them by himself.
Gibbs is good, but I mean, yeah, I guess he could if Waddle stinks. But what was I going to say? Oh, Dan, the wrestler.
Yes.
Have you seen the wrestler?
No. Who's that? I don't even know about it.
And what's his name? Mickey Rourke.
Oh,
I said Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rourke. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite movies.
Have you guys seen this movie? I've seen this movie like 30 times. Dazed and Confused.
Absolutely garbage.
Love that movie. What?
It has no plot.
Who cares? It's a fun, good feeling movie. Every time I watch Dazed and Confused, I've seen it like 25 times. Every time I watch it, I'm like, I wish I was a kid during this era of like the world. Like no phones. You just go out, you hang out with your friends. Like driving around.
Who would you pocket dial at 1:45 in the morning?
What happened?
So
Jake?
I did. Okay, we can get to this now. I went out Wednesday night, celebrate my friend Rachel, who's on Survivor. She had a watch party. I don't want to give away anything that happened on the episode, even though it was Wednesday. Apparently, that's a spoiler. So I'm not going to spoil. I do apologize. If you wait to watch with your wife or whoever, I don't want to spoil it for you. After, it was like a late night. Like we went to like an after party and then an after party. So for some odd reason, I pocket dialed Jamie at a very late hour.
Were you sleeping, Jamie?
So I actually did fall asleep. So what happened was
no, I hope you have it on silent. Like I assume your phone's on silent.
Trust me, the few hours I sleep, nothing's waking me up. So here's what happened. I had a really crazy week. Shout out to all single parents. My wife was away on a work trip, so dealing with 3 kids by myself was a little hectic. Or parents that have spouses that travel for work. I shouldn't just label.
Yeah.
So, you get the point.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little behind on start sit, and so Dan was kind of. By the way, I think the Evan Ingram tight end photo was at the top of the column. I forgot to tell you. We need to fix it. I just sent him the quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers, and I said, hey, let's just do tight ends, kicker, and defense in the morning or later. And I fell asleep. So usually I would have done it like around 9, 10 o'clock. I fell asleep putting my kids to sleep. And I woke up at 4 a.m. and I was like, oh, Dan called. I'm like, oh man, he's waiting up for me to do this. I feel so bad. And I didn't realize there was a voicemail. So I listened to the next day. I'm like, what is going on? Because you could hear him talking.
You hear like a conversation to me.
Yeah, it's tough to make out because obviously
play it, Jamie, play it.
I don't know if it's safe for work, but there was at one point I heard him. I couldn't tell like exactly what he was doing. So at one point I heard him say, "Let's go over here." Like, okay, he's out somewhere. But I was like, oh man, he's waiting up for me. I feel so bad.
No.
Because he knows that I stay up late working, so I didn't know if he was just waiting to publish it.
Man, how do you feel about falling asleep when you put your kids to bed? Because like part of it is so glorious. Obviously, you're just exhausted. But then every time I always wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I can't get back to sleep. I'm just up.
I was up for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And I finished the column. Did
Yeah, it's productive, right? You're like, there's nothing disturbing you. It's totally
well, that's usually my nights anyway, though. But I did a little laundry. I was productive, but I felt bad. I'm like, oh man, Dan's gonna be mad at me. And then also I missed all my waiver moves.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the worst part.
All right, let's move on here and read some more emails, but this time they're going to be a little bit different. I'm getting the music queued up. It is time for the Fantasy Cops. All right, this one is from Joseph from a college city west of Detroit, and he says, "Go Blue."
Michigan. Wait, no, west of Detroit.
Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor. Michigan College is what I meant, obviously. Obviously. Come on, go Blue.
Michigan College fighting today.
College, yeah.
All right, here's Joseph's question. I'm writing today because I traded for Chris Olave on Wednesday night, and my platform takes 24 hours to process and it subs the players in directly where the other player was taken out.
Ugh.
I checked my lineup at around 7 and everything looked good, forgetting that I had a trade processing within the next hour before the game started. Much to my dismay, when I looked to see how my team was doing, Chris Olave stared back at me from my flex spot. I am 2-4 with the second most points and the number 1 points against. I definitely had a shot in this league, but this debacle will ruin my chances at making the playoffs. I asked the manager, who I'm playing against, if he could change it. I guess this is the commissioner. If he could change it, and he brought it to the league, which was split on what we should do. I know it's my fault for not checking right before the game, but do you think some action should be taken?
Yes, I mean, if there's a time frame that you have to wait for trades, and the player involved is on Thursday night, and the player involved is dealing with an injury, there has to be some sort of leeway here of, okay, you made the deal. Yes, the swaps out player for player. You should be allowed to take him out. I would hope the commissioner, despite the fact that he's playing him, you don't want this bad karma on your head that you didn't allow this to happen. It's not like the guy was doing something to swap something at the last minute as a benefit to his team. It was just to give him a legal lineup, and I think you should allow that to happen.
Yeah, I'm a big intention guy. I agree. I don't think we should be doing things to screw with technically you're going to lose because technically you didn't get it in time. It's because of the league and the way it processed. So there needs to be a leeway. I agree with that. Olave was ruled out so early. Nobody wants him stuck in a lineup, especially in the flex.
Yeah. The other thing is, though, I would establish rules here because it's an easy decision to make because Olave, obviously he wouldn't have started Olave. But what if you get a situation where you trade for a guy who was playing on Thursday that you didn't intend to start him? But he was, you know what I'm saying? It's
right. And then if he has a big week, you're like, oh, I would have started him.
So we could obviously put this back on the manager, knowing that there was a trade in place, and clearly he had Olave. If it's what he said, right? He swapped out player for player in the lineup. He obviously left Olave in his lineup. Or I'm sorry, he left the flex player that he was trading in his lineup.
Right.
That's true.
He knew that player was pending a trade.
True. He should have swapped.
It is potentially on him or her that they left the.
It's Joseph. It's a him.
Sorry?
It's Joseph. It's a him.
That Joseph left the player in his lineup that he knew could be swapped out, and so may not be as forgiving. I might take that back.
You shouldn't be assuming Adam just because his name's Joseph. That's a him. That's on you.
I guess that's true. Yeah, you shouldn't be assuming that he goes to Michigan College in Michigan, Detroit.
My assumption is a little less problematic than yours these days. So.
This is from Antor.
What city's north of Orlando? Florida.
Antor from Halifax, Nova Scotia. I got a dilemma in one of my leagues. Our commissioner has admitted to rolling the schedule out, making it line up that his team plays a team with the Burrow Chase stack on Cincinnati's bye week, week 12.
Wait, what?
I know, right? This is outrageous.
Wait, does he mean mid-season? I don't know. I'm so confused. He changed the schedule
before the season started. But I guess
how does he know that he rigged it that he rigged it on purpose?
He admitted it. He said, I'm not sure what to think about this as the schedule was randomized. Otherwise, he just re-rolled it until that matchup was his. But it seems like the commissioner admitted to pushing out a schedule that had him playing the team with Chase and Burrow on week 12, which is the Bengals bye week.
It's so teams draft then he set the schedule up after that,
Yeah.
or it's a dynasty league or a keeper league where you know that they have those teams.
Yeah.
Does it say it was the thing I'm confused about? It says it was randomized, or he set the specific schedule, the commissioner.
I'll just read it verbatim. Okay. So he said, our commissioner has admitted to rolling the schedule out, making it line up that his team plays a team with the Burrow Chase stack while they're on a bye in week 12. I'm not sure what to think about this, as the schedule was randomized. Otherwise, he just re-rolled it until that matchup was his.
Okay. So he did. So it was randomized, and I guess they are assuming that he re-rolled it. Did he admit that he did this?
He admitted that he lined it up so that he played this team in week 12.
So obviously, if he admitted it, this is unbelievably bad. I don't even know where to go from here. I wouldn't even want to play in a league like this. It's just like crazy bad. This guy's literally rigging the schedule and admitting it.
What do you do here? Do you make, as a punishment, if this is confirmed, do you make the commissioner, since he knows the other team is now picking up a quarterback and picking up a wide receiver, do you make him bench his number one receiver and starting quarterback to make it fair?
In week 12?
Yep.
I don't know what I do. I want out of the league.
I don't know what I do either. This is unprecedented.
I don't think I'm paying the buy-in if I'm in this league personally. He literally cheated. Like, this is there's no way around this.
Like, how do you admit to that?
I think that's a good solution.
How do you admit to that? What does he think is going to happen next?
He either benches his quarterback and receiver, or he benches his first-round pick and his quarterback. Chase was a first-round pick.
One of the two, I think, and then either he's removed as commissioner, somebody else takes the role, or you guys all just find a new league, or you create your own league.
All right, thank you very much for reaching out to the Fantasy Cops. Hope we were able to assist you.
What about a commissioner that doesn't tell everybody when he changed the waivers at the start of the season?
How about Jamie has an illegal lineup in one of the leagues that we're in, and he's cheating. So
which league?
The magazine league.
Oh, that's because Shaheed should be on IR.
Oh, yeah. I think Clyde came off and Shaheed, yeah. But it's illegal, so I think you should forfeit the week because you're playing me.
Okay.
All right, what is that?
Someone's asking if I'm drinking a beer. I'm not drinking a beer. It's a seltzer. It's a Trader Joe's seltzer.
All right, listen, I see a lot of questions on YouTube. We'll get to those after we take this break. We have some emails about shopping carts. We have your Apple Podcast questions and your YouTube questions after this. That's right. It is Mailbag Friday. We get goofy. Please deal with it. Emails about shopping carts. So a couple of weeks ago, Dan said you can tell a lot about the character of a person by whether or not they bring the shopping cart back to the designated place or just leave it by the car. You think this is telling? All right. So this is from Jake and KC. He says, "Dear Dan, my first job as a teenager was at a grocery store. I was a cashier, but when the store wasn't busy, I would have to do a secondary job, helping stock shelves, facing the aisles, which is basically pulling stuff up to the front of the shelf, bag for the open lanes, get customer service training, go get carts. Facing the aisles and getting the carts were easily the best two things you could do. The managers think it is a terrible thing and they feel sorry for you, so they give you a ton of time to do it. It's pretty great. To be clear, having said all this, I still put my cart back every single time. It is more about having loose carts dinging into cars in the parking lots.
Exactly.
Chasing them around and finding them around the property really isn't that bad.
I think that's the key. The second part, like for the actual worker, it could be a little break, a little reprieve in their day. But you have to think about everyone here. Unfortunately for you, it's not just about you working. It's about everyone in that lot as these carts are rolling around, dinging cars, getting in the way. Sometimes I've seen people leave them like in the spot, so now you can't park in that spot. And then it's like taking up a spot. It's just.
So are you returning them to the store or to the cart return that's in the parking lot?
No, I go all the way to because the Trader Joe's where I shop it, there's like a cart thing right in front of the store, so people can just take from there. So I put it all the way back there.
Comment from Josh. Dan is definitely a Trader Joe's regular. He probably knows all the cashiers by name.
100% true. It's the only place I shop, and I'm a pretty friendly person, so I do know some of the cashiers by name.
All right. Garth says, the study, Adam, that study was a bunch of crap, LOL. So I cited a friend who cited a study that said that the employees actually like getting the carts. They get some fresh air.
Fake study.
I used to have a job that involved retrieving carts from a parking lot, and I can tell you it's not necessarily enjoyable at all. And I like fitness, LOL. I don't agree with a lot of his takes, but Dan is right on this one.
Let's go.
People who leave their carts by their cars and don't bring them back to the designated cart return areas are the worst kind of people.
I stand by that. Yeah, they are really bad people. Just do it. Like, this is not your world. Everyone's living in the world. You're not the only person here.
He said he got so caught up in the cart thing that I forgot to ask my real question. Would you consider trading Cooper Kupp for Kareem Hunt? I'm deep at wide receiver, but I lost Pacheco.
No.
It's such a tough one because if you need the running back this week, then yes, if there's no guarantee Kupp plays.
All right, this is from Justin. Gathering up the carts to get a break, rookie move. When I worked at a grocery store at 14, I'd volunteer to do the hated task of breaking down the pallets of ice into the individual 8-pound bags. I'd wear thermals and a winter coat, lock the cooler from inside, and nap. That's a pro move.
Yeah, but you risked being like a Carmine in the Bear. You know, you might get locked in there. Then what?
Yeah, right. You're gonna die. Like, you're gonna freeze.
Yeah. You don't want to be in there too long.
So just so you know, Dan, we had a whole 30 to 45-minute meeting yesterday, getting to know our new fantasy social coordinator.
Okay.
Social media coordinator. And 10 minutes of it was on the shopping carts.
Yeah. I was like, what if we talk about shopping carts? Could that go viral? All right, here's some Apple Podcast questions. Thanks so much for getting these in. Your best bet, I'm a little frustrated with the Apple Podcast process because they take a while to populate. So your best bet is to ask us questions on Monday. Leave a 5-star review on Monday in Apple Podcast with your question for the upcoming week. No Thursday night questions, but leave it on Monday if you can. And leave a 5-star review. Tell everybody why you like the show and then ask your question. McW24, grade the trade in half PPR. Give up James Conner and Jaden Daniels. I have Jalen Hurts. Give up James Conner and Jaden Daniels. Get Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
All right, nice work.
I might keep Daniels and give up Hurts.
Ooh.
From Suave Rani. Traded Jacobs, Higgins, and Chubbard. Jacobs, T. Higgins, and Chubbard for Justin Jefferson and Calvin Ridley. I have a really deep team, and I was always having to bench 2 between T. Higgins, Brian Thomas, and Jamison Williams, and I have Jonathan Brooks. So he gave up Jacobs, T. Higgins, and Chuba Hubbard. He got Jefferson and Ridley.
I assume it's one of those leagues where it's like only start 2 receivers, so it's really shallow. So I like it in that sense. I think you could be going in the wrong direction if it's a league where you start a flex and 3 receivers because you're kind of thinking of it like, oh, I'm benching a lot of good guys now. But remember, bye weeks are on the way and injuries too. So I like it only in a shallow start league.
The only concern I have, first off, Ridley's a waste of.
Yeah, he's nothing in the trade.
Not a waste, but he's just not a big piece that you're going to rely on. You give up a lot, and if Hubbard still is the guy for several more weeks, like that's a big overpay. But Jefferson is the best player, so I think Dan's right. If it's a shallow league and you're just starting 2 receivers and you're getting the best player, that's always a win. If it's a 12-team league where you have a pretty deep starting lineup and you're just trying to consolidate, but you shouldn't really at that point, could be a mistake.
This one is from Skeeps. Loading up this show in my podcast feed is like popping some delicious egg juice over a warm fantasy breakfast hash. Nothing beats
Stand by it.
Egg juice instead of calling it yolk. Like
the runny yolk. You know, like when you cut it, it's a fried egg, Jamie, and then you kind of have it all. The yolks run out.
Egg juice?
Because guess what? You can use it. You can use the little pieces of white, the egg whites, and then soak them in there, dip it in. You can dip bread in there. It's egg juice.
Man, your trips to Michigan, getting some egg juice.
I know, right? Adam, try your eggs with cherry tomato jam. If made right, highly recommend using homegrown or farm fresh Sweet Hundreds tomatoes, and you have to cook it very slowly. It is sweet, savory, a little spicy with ginger and garlic aftertaste.
I'm just laughing at the idea of Adam, this person thinking that Adam's going to sit and slow cook just sweet cherry tomatoes to make
his burgers.
Like, if done right, Adam's going to figure that Adam's not doing this right. What?
100%.
The only chef Adam knows is Boyardee.
Adam, am I right to think that you just can't cook at all?
No.
Okay.
I can cook, not well though, but
who's the better cook, Dan or Adam?
No, I actually can cook. So
Are you kidding?
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm actually a pretty damn good cook.
No, but it's all I can follow a recipe, but it's like real stuff. It's not like I'm just like putting
All
a
right,
burger
that's
in.
next year's challenge.
I'm not putting a burger in an oven and calling it dinner.
No,
I
I
can
actually
make meatballs from scratch. I can make
I've been making
gravy from
burgers
scratch.
on this. I've been making burgers on the stove, and they've been very good. So what I do now is I buy the sliders and I flatten them. So I just need them to be really thin.
I told you about this. I told you about Smash Burger concept. I've told you about that countless times on this show.
Well, I don't like
Only way
them
to go.
thin, but they're easier for me to cook if they're thin.
No, Smash Burgers, how you get them crisp. That's the best way to make a burger.
All right, from Swayze.
I think we do a fantasy cook-off next year between the two of you.
No, that I'll lose.
I need to whoop him 6-0, 6-0 this time.
I have underperformers such as Kyler Murray, Chris Olave, Jonathan Taylor, CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Kincaid, and I have Deontay Johnson. And if Bryce Young comes back, that ruins him. My bench is full of handcuffed running backs who seem to lose me weeks as well, along with Juju and Jacoby Myers. Should I ride this team out, or is there anyone in particular you'll be trying to move on from and trade away? 3-receiver league PPR.
What's his record? Does it say, or her record?
No.
I feel like this question was more like for fantasy therapists.
So this is one of those situations. Heath was talking about this. I forget on what show we were on. That when your team is in trouble and you're trying to salvage your record at this point, Jonathan Taylor in week 8 or 9 is not helping you. You need to be trading him to a contender right away and getting something that's going to help you right now. Now, you're not giving him away. You're not giving him away for, Isaac Garendo, or a week 1 starter. You're giving him away for somebody who's got the potential to still be some long-term value, but the guy that is the manager that's trading for Taylor has Hubbard and 2 or 3 other guys that they can still start, and then Taylor becomes that superstar for them to push them over the top while you still try and salvage your season. So you have to be shopping Taylor, and to an extent, you're shopping Olave, even though he's not, going to bring back as much in return. I don't remember all the players on the list there, but
Olave for sure. I think Olave could be back next week.
Olave could be back next week, but he's been underperforming. So it's just
Right.
what I'm trying to get at is, like, if you can turn Jonathan Taylor, maybe Taylor and Olave, into 2 or 3 starters that are helping you right now just to get wins, then you figure it out after that.
What about the thought of Olave without Shaheed? Is that going to help him, or is that going to have no difference, basically?
I think it will help. I mean, Shaheed's been very good, and so the hope would be is that this team is going to be chasing points a lot, and Olave's targets will be up. But Derek Carr is afraid to throw into tight coverage. And so when Olave's facing a tough corner or double teams, he's just not getting the opportunities, which is why Shaheed has been not only getting plays down the field, he's been getting 8-target game, 7-target game. That's not the profile that we had for Shaheed. He's definitely developed as a receiver, but those chances need to go to Olave a lot more, and I think that was what I was encouraged by from Kubiak, because I thought we'd see a lot more pre-snap motion and getting him some open spaces, and the yak would be there for Olave, and there's been some moments of that. It just hasn't been consistent. So yes, Adam, he could definitely benefit without Shaheed there, but I would think if you're 2-4, you're 1-5, you don't want to give up on the season. You want to try and win as best way you possibly can if you still enjoy playing this game. And so unfortunately, trade a 1st-round pick that's hurt, trade a 2nd-round pick that's hurt, get some value in return, and try and see if you could salvage the season.
All right. And I have a sneaky, if you have CeeDee Lamb and you're struggling, what about trading for Dak Prescott and hoping that the stack, because this is the lowest of the low of Dak Prescott's value. So you got to take like a Hail. What'd you say?
Their schedule's brutal.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, if you listen to Troy Aikman, you don't want to make that trade. Did you hear him?
Oh, yeah.
CeeDee Lamb's route running this week.
Really interesting. He eviscerated CeeDee Lamb's route running.
I'm not gonna go too far into this, but I'm
their schedule is so bad.
Skeptical of that because I don't think I don't know. Is he watching all the teams as much as he watching the Cowboys? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think
he used the Ravens as like the example.
What
of
is it for Dak running?
So it's at San Francisco, at Atlanta, Philadelphia, Houston, at Washington, Giants, Bengals, at Carolina. Yeah. As of right now, and I don't take this too seriously.
Maybe I was looking at the San Francisco game.
Yeah, but San Francisco's 15th against quarterbacks. That's the toughest opponent left on the schedule, just in terms of where they currently rank. It's gonna be, it's only been 5-6 games, but this is where they currently rank 15th, or is the toughest for Dak. But I'm just thinking, like, you try to catch, you need a miracle. You get the Dak Lamb stack, and maybe they carry you like they did last year. All right, YouTubers, let's do it. What do we got here? We got Dalton or Anthony Richardson. From Eric.
Richardson. In half, full, or non-PPR?
Richardson for me.
Eric. It's such a habit of people to tell us the catch scoring when they're asking quarterback questions. Dan, what's your take on egg and egg juice on burgers?
Do like a fried egg on a burger for sure.
Egg juice just sounds so gross.
It's not my best comment ever. I'd say it's definitely in the lower tier. But
could either of you do the Rocky move of just eating a raw egg?
Oh God,
Drinking raw egg?
I could do it easily. I would do that.
he drinks like 4 raw eggs.
All right, next mailbag, you're gonna do one on the air.
Can
For
you
what?
do that?
I
Yeah.
can't. No,
This is the St. Jude type of time. You do this during the.
No, you said you could do it. Do it.
Yeah, come on, Dan. Let's say, you could never do that. How many eggs? There's got to be at least 4 eggs in that glass.
No, you don't have to do 4. I'll do 1.
I'll do it.
Crack an egg in a
Well,
glass.
I don't know if that's like safe. Is that even safe?
He did it. Stallone did it. What are you saying? You're not Stallone?
I just don't. I'm definitely not Stallone.
As long as it's safe, I think you do it. And you gotta find some evidence that it's not safe.
Okay.
What do we do with Alvin Kamara in Dynasty? I'm number 1 at 5-1 and a competitive team, but the Saints are starting to worry me with his usage. Want to ride it out with him, but I don't know.
I mean, you're 5-1 in Dynasty. You're obviously competing and have a chance to win the whole thing. So you're not giving him away to a team that's, not in competition with you. So unless you could find a trade partner that is running back needy wide receiver needy, and you have wide receiver depth and you need some running back help, and you sort of do a package deal, I don't think you have any choice but to just sort of play this out. Is this Dave, by the way? Because I think in our YOLO league he has Alvin Kamara and he's 5-1.
I have no idea.
Same Dave.
But a 5-1 Dynasty team is exactly who should have Alvin Kamara, right? Not the 1-5 Dynasty team.
I mean, if you're 1-5, you should be selling him for anything you get.
John Kyer says Gino or Kyler standard scoring.
Gino.
I'll go Gino, just matchup wise.
If Harrison plays.
Gino.
Still Gino.
Okay. We got a wide receiver and a flex. Watson, Wandale, Bigsby, ETN, Chubb, Waddle.
I don't think ETN's going to play, so
he's listed as questionable.
Yeah.
I would go Wandale
Ooh.
and Bigsby.
Bigsby's the lock for me. I'm struggling to find a second.
You don't like Wandale this week?
No, I don't really like the Giants offense at all this week with Andrew Thomas out. I think we're going to be looking at a real ugly game. I mean, it depends. If the Eagles play the Giants like the Bengals played them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to wonder if I'm being a little bit too dramatic with the Andrew Thomas injury, but it is a huge deal.
I'm more so concerned with just like what the Bengals put on tape, and any team can copy, which is just 11 guys around the line of scrimmage, safeties only 10 to 12 yards off the ball, drive on everything, every short route, and drive on every run play.
Oh, I want to give a stat. It was my favorite stat. I didn't get into this, but so Philadelphia has allowed, and I don't really think this applies to Wan'Dale Robinson, and I'll tell you why. But Philadelphia has allowed the 12th most receiving yards, the 2nd most yards per catch, and the 2nd most touchdowns to wide receivers out of the slot. And that's with a bye week. And the reason why I don't think it applies to Wan'Dale Robinson is I believe he has 3 targets of 15 or more air yards all year. So he's not. So I watched like a lot of I watched the touchdowns they gave up. 4 of the 5 touchdowns they gave up to slot receivers were on CJ Gardner-Johnson, who, from what I have seen, has been awful. Now, maybe it's just those plays and maybe he's doing well otherwise, but like this guy has been so bad giving up these big plays, but I just don't think like Wandale's not the guy. Like, it's one thing when Christian Watson does it or something like that, or Jaden Reed. I think it was Jaden Reed had a 70-yard touchdown. Wan'Dale Robinson's not doing that. I don't think they can take advantage of that, but CJ Gardner-Johnson has been absolutely victimized in coverage in some of these big plays.
Wandale's prop, I believe, is 6.5 receptions, 5.5 receptions, somewhere in that range.
Oh, I like the over there.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like PPR. It's hard to overlook it. And half PPR is still a borderline starter.
Yeah, but
it's more borderline. I think like I could totally see like a 7 for 52 type of game.
Did we answer that question? I'm sorry.
We did answer.
For me, it's Wandale and Bigsby. If ETN is out,
I'll go Bigsby, Watson.
All right, start one. Bucky Irving, Justice Hill, Tyler Goodson.
Bucky, obviously. And then I'll go Goodson.
No, it's just one.
Start
just
one.
Oh, Bucky.
I would start Bucky if Rachaad White is out. If Rachaad White is in, I might go Goodson just with the hope that he is the better Colts running back this week.
Start one running back and one flex and half PPR. Achan, Hunt, Mason, Brian Thomas.
Hunt and BTJ for me.
Achan and BTJ for me.
All right, we're not worried about Christian Gonzalez.
No.
I mean, a little bit, but
Lazard or Watson?
Watson.
Yeah, more big play potential. Watson.
Lazard is unplayable right now.
Yeah, you gotta see how this plays out here.
I think
Juju or
Lazard's gonna.
Juju.
Pickens for me. Oh no, sorry, Juju. I'm sorry.
Goodson or Zach Moss?
Goodson.
I'll go Goodson too. I don't like the matchup for Cincy.
Ayuk or Wandale?
Ayuk for me.
Oh, Jamie. All in on Wandale.
What has Ayuk done?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, nothing yet. Yeah.
He's Ayuk.
It's still against a very good Chiefs defense. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
If this was a good matchup, I'd go Ayuk.
Why did
but
you
it's not
put
a good
this
matchup.
comment up, Adam? This was the weirdest thing. I can't believe you put that up.
I'm not gonna read it out loud.
Just take it off the screen.
All right. Would you trade away
Please.
Gibbs?
That might have been the worst thing you've ever posted.
That was really weird by
Yeah,
Adam.
it just had to be like all over his nude
It's like
body.
short start. He's just like
I
short
will say
circuit.
this.
Put
Without
that up.
saying
Okay.
it, we're gonna get a few more views on the YouTube stream from our listening audience. Is gonna want to go see what it is.
Yeah.
Well, at least we got that out of it.
Just fast forward to the 55-minute mark. You'll enjoy it.
Trade away Gibbs and Kraft for Brees Hall. I have Ingram in half PPR.
No.
I would do it because I have Ingram. Yeah.
Adams or Evans?
Adams.
We don't want to wait with Evans on Monday.
If both these guys play, Aaron Jones or Jordan Mason?
Jones.
I can't start Mason because I think there's a legit chance he could just go down wrong like last week when he came back in the second half and now you have a 0.
Okay, we'll end with this comment. Woo. Adam doesn't like Dan. Wow.
That's what the audience seems to think.
Yeah. That's not true at all. I love Dan.
No,
It
it's
is
not
true. I
true.
don't like Dan. I love Dan. I
Yeah.
love him. He's great. I wish he lived closer to me so we could go get food together.
I agree. Me and Adam have done a lot of things. We've been to Giant games. We've played tennis. Adam's the reason I get to come on the podcast. All sorts of great things. Adam has shown me
First
nothing
reason.
but love.
What was the baseball card that he missed out on?
That was on Adam. I invited Adam to a box suite Yankees game. He was my first pick. And I had a lot of people I could pick. My first pick. Oh, no, I can't do it. I got to go to a birthday party, a cake for the kids. I don't know.
What? That-
What was your excuse? I forgot your excuse.
I don't know if I gave you a real excuse. I know what the real one was. I may have lied back then.
Oh, you must have lied to me then.
You're something up, but
You definitely
the real one
lied
was
to me.
I just had been. No, I think I told you the truth. I had just been out kind of a lot that week.
No, that was the truth. And
Oh,
you didn't
yeah.
want to put it. You wanted to be the good husband and not be like to your wife, I'm going to go out again, which is
Yeah.
fair. You have 2 young kids. With that said, my friend who I did bring, I got the number that Adam would have got out of the hat and pulled a rookie card that was estimated by the people there as by far the best pull of the night. But I think it was like $5,000 to $7,000 value.
Jeez.
It's crazy.
Dan's new name, Egg Juice. All right, well, on that, we are out of here. For Jamie and Egg Juice, I'm Adam. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, youtube.com/fantasyfootballtoday. See ya.